Welcome everybody to the 10th episode of Golden Gulch. If anybody remembers the Boardwalk series that I did a while back, 10 episodes would have been the live stream, which is the last episode we did in that series, which is pretty crazy that we're only done with the first section and we're actually going to be starting on the second section today. So, based on the title, it says a train divider, which is what we're going to be making is a train, and it's going to actually be dividing two sections, but it's only going to be wrapped into one section of the park, and that section is going to be a kind of Mexican on the border style section, which is going to be on a lagoon area, as I was kind of planning out in the last episode when we made the bridge. But right now we are just kind of making the layout and the actual station for everything. Um, Oh, actually, we're not even going to make the whole layout for it. We're only going to make the beginning part and then the end kind of wrapping around and kind of over the water. The rest of it is going to be basically the station building and a little bit of planning for what this area is going to be like. So you can see how it kind of curves around the lagoon area where the water is, and we're actually going to be building a big restaurant on the water. That should be coming in soon episodes when we're working on this Mexican area. And then we're also going to be kind of making other rides in there as well. We don't have that big of a space to work with, but I did get make it a bit small. I wanted to be pretty cozy in there. But I was working with this pathing for a little while. For some reason it was a little bit crooked. I don't know why, but I kind of just dealt with it and we'll kind of go with it and we'll make it work how we want it to work. And another thing that I did was I did some path variations with the textures. So we have some brick pathing, we have some tar pathing, we have all types of stuff. Once we do get all of this pathing set up though, we will go into the actual station for this train ride, and that is going to be a pretty much part of the World's Fair pieces with the Pueblo, I think it is, the Pueblo style walls and all of that stuff. So we will be using those a lot in this area, and we're actually making the queue right now. And I didn't want it to be too long. I don't know how much people actually go to these trains, but this is probably going to be the only station for it. It's going to be more of one of those scenic trains, not really one of those that take you around from stop to stop. And then we actually have our main plaza still continuing back there, and then we're going to connect it, and then after that we're going to practically be working on this big building. And this building is not going to just be the train station and queue, but it is also going to be a little bit of storefronts for it. So on the other side where the actual other part of the western area is, I guess you could call it, it's going to be more of the outback side where it's more rough and there's less city like or village like stuff. It's going to be more of like the outback, and we're going to have a restroom stall under the train station, and we're also going to have two restaurants, well actually one restaurant and then one drink place, I believe, but we'll get to that when we actually place those down. For right now we are going to be placing our pueblos, or the pueblo, that's what I'm going to call them, the pueblo walls right now, and I made them a green, kind of fitting in with like the Mexican colors, and we will be doing that with the rest of the build as well. So we're gonna have some red in there, and then obviously some white as well, kind of making those colors fit well. So now we're moving on to what we're placing in that building, which is our Mexcellente, I believe it is. And I don't remember what the drink shop was. It was a Gulpy soda or a Gulpy energy, one or the other. It was a Gulpy shop. And then we have our restroom stall. So either way, we have our three things there, and those are going to be the three shops on the other side of it. I'm just making sure that I have enough food and drink and restrooms for everybody to be able to have not have to walk too far to get to places. That's kind of sucky when you do have to do that. And one thing that I did not like about these Pueblo walls is that like their archways and stuff are like really really small, and it's so unrealistic for people to walk through them. So I can't really use those. So I did actually have to go and almost custom make them with these little arch shapes. I think they are arc. I don't know. They kind of look like arc shapes. I don't really know what they are though. They're kind of like borders. And then for our roofing, we're gonna have a flat roof, which is gonna be probably one of the last things we're gonna be making in this build. And then these like kind of half walls with the wood sticking out of them, kind of making it look like there's wooden pillars coming through each side. Um, and that's going to be pretty much the roof, and we'll get to that later on. But once we get these done, we're actually going to be moving on to a little bit more detail and stuff. Some of that is going to be some of the trim work, and like here we actually had to use those little arc shapes again. I think I'm just going to call these more of the borders. They make more sense to be a border, just because there's really no big archway that comes with the Mexican style from the World's Fair. But here's more of the trim work. We're going to be using these little things to kind of fill in these little gaps, since you can't actually get these the walls to go up and not run into the track. So we used these, and we're actually going to be copying and pasting that around, and we're actually going to be using some wooden planks as well. Which is going to be a pretty good theme throughout this build right here. There's going to be a lot of wood going on, and there's going to be a lot of hand placed wood, because you can't really place the wooden planks on a grid in Planet Coaster. But you can see that we've kind of placed all of these together, and now we're going to be placing down our little pillars of wood. So that is going to stretch along this wall and the opposite wall. It's not going to be along the big wall. The big wall, or the long ways wall, is just going to be more of a flat surfaced one, and we'll put some windows in up on the upper side later on. But right now we are just working on this. And now, as we move on, we're going to be working towards on these shop fronts and our restroom stall. So we're going to be placing down the Mexcelente sign and our Gulpy Energy sign, just making it known that people can come and go up to these buildings and actually interact with them. And we actually can set those to an advertising destination, which we will do, and then our restroom sign. And then we actually put the ghost walls, I believe they are. They come in the spooky pack, and those are just going to be little doors that you can go into the building and go into the restroom stall. So I did put those on stationary, and those won't open and close. People will just go through them. So it's kind of a little thing that happens, but it's not 100% okay to have people glitching through the walls. But it's kind of realistic for them to be going through doors. But now we're going to be working on some trim work for the front, or the long ways sides of the buildings. So we have our windows that we put in, and we're doing this trim work for the windows and our archways and entrances and stuff. So these wooden planks are going to be doing that. And then we are going to be doing that for our restroom stall and our other windows and stuff like that. So I think this just kind of adds some texture to the long walls that really were just blank walls in general. So that's what I did there. And then we are doing the same to our big archway in which the train will pass under. It's nothing too crazy. It still makes it through. I did test it. I made sure it did. And then we're going to be doing a bunch of plank work. As I said before, we're going to be placing or hand placing all of this stuff. And basically, we're just going to outline the ramp down and kind of make it look like it was part of the building, because I didn't actually, there aren't Pueblo pieces that curve and that would look really good with this build in a whole. So I just used the wooden planks to do it. So we're just going to be making practically this for a little while. Once we're done with this, we'll kind of move on to the other side, where we're going to be doing some fence work. And that fence work is going to take a little while in general. So while we do our fencing here and on the other side, I'll take you guys to a little music session, and I will see you guys in a couple of minutes. are going to be going into the finishing touches for the fencing and queue stuff, and that is going to be the light work. So, or the lighting, I guess you could say, because light work would be meaning something different. But the lighting would be a light, kind of like a light red, kind of pink with a little orange tint to it, I guess. It's a weird color, but we are doing that for our queue. We're going to just basically outline the queue so make sure people can navigate their way through without hurting themselves on the fence or anything. The one thing that I did forget to do was kind of light up the stairs, and that's probably the worst thing I could do because you don't want people falling down the stairs and getting hurt. But another thing that I did for this queue is those little entrance pillar things. I covered those up with like little gold little spheres. They came in the adventure pack, I believe, and that just kind of gives rid of those ugly cylinders things. So I did that instead. And then another thing that we're going to be doing for the lighting, and we're basically dressing up this area with the lighting. We're doing these like string lightings that are just going to go all the way down the front side of the fence, and then we're actually going to do some more string lighting going up the stairs right now. And that's actually going to kind of, when I think of Mexican area type things, I think of extravagant colors. So that's what I kind of wanted to incorporate into this build, was those extravagant colors. And so that's where I used these string lightings, and I just kind of wanted to make it a little bit brighter since this build is pretty dull, since it's just all of a dark green color. There's nothing too crazy going on. And the fence color actually is a green, it's like an orange red and a white, which are practically the Mexican colors, which I'm really happy. I think it looks really good with the green accent behind it. But I don't know if you guys noticed, we're doing some little touch-up details, and there's actually a red sign on the building that says train name, and that's because I don't have a name for this coaster, this train ride. I was thinking something like the Mexican train, but we don't have a name, so you guys can totally suggest those in the comments. But now we're doing some finishing touch-ups. We're ending the video off here, so thank you guys so much for watching. If you stayed to the end, you guys are amazing. Make sure to suggest a name in the comments if you have one, and make sure to have an amazing day.